My guest today is Mark Smargon. Mark is the co-founder and CEO at Fuse, Unbundling Payments. Yes, it's a leading Web3 platform for business and finance. We'll learn all about it today. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Thanks, Andy, for having me.
It is a pleasure. Mark, let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. It would be cool if you could please introduce yourself. Love to hear some of your personal and professional backstory. Yeah, what have you been doing in the lead up to co-founding Fuse?
So I've been 12 years in the space, a little bit more than 12 years. Fuse is actually my third attempt at crypto payments. I think the first one was before I was in the blockchain industry. So it was back when, blockchain was called Bitcoin 2.0, when Bitcoin was the only blockchain around. We tried to push payments. And it's technology, actually, the first time I bought Bitcoin, I just wanted to play with it. My background is e-commerce, so I looked at it as like a way to kind of bypass all those junky integrations and Stripe type of products. Yeah. It was 12 years ago, and I thought, how come you need to be a US company to sell to Americans if you want to accept their credit cards, right? So 12 years ago, that's still the case until today, pretty much, to a large extent. You can need to be physically in the US if you want to sell to Americans. So e-commerce is not really like this global thing yet that everybody can just use and onboard with very, businesses with low margins. Everybody can use it. A cash alternative. No, this technology, online and internet payments are still not really replacing anything right now, as contrary to popular belief. It's in addition to cash, not in a replacement of cash. And that was my reasoning to actually be in the space, because I started my first company when I was 14, and it was an e-commerce platform, a small one here in Israel. My brother was managing it, and I always thought that in the future, there would be e-commerce. Everything would be e-commerce, or there wouldn't be any difference between e-commerce and commerce. So fast forward 12 years, started the company doing one of the first protocols on top of Bitcoin for tokenizing assets, colored coins. The company was called. It was one of the first blockchain companies here in Tel Aviv, and this company became a kind of a financial institution at some point, and pivoted to work with municipalities and had a local like e-money license. And back in the day, it wasn't really possible to use blockchains. And this is why I started Fuse, because I think technology has caught up with the hype. And I think right now you can actually do stuff that were really difficult to do 10 years ago. Like minting tokens today is super simple. We want every business to have access to it. And blockchains are a really good place to store assets. Money will flow that way. It's only been used by the largest organizations, and we believe this technology is the best for the small business, which is the main, I would say, part of the economy, the main employer. And we don't think this technology is only meant for financial institutions and Nike and Adidas and all the biggest companies, the biggest conglomerates. They don't need crypto. They're actually, they need Bitcoin as much as they need Facebook. So those small businesses, they actually need Facebook. And right now it's their only solution to some problems. So yeah, Fuse is really badly needed, and that's the thesis behind the startup, and that's the intro.
I like it. Thank you, Mark. Well, I guess, you said that, blockchain has finally caught up, or the technology has caught up to, some of the use cases. Some of the tooling is easier to use, and yeah, it's easier to get things done. The solutions are starting to work. But if that's the case, how would you characterize some of the problems with payments today then? Because as much as certainly progress has been made, and you would have to argue that, yeah, we have a lot more payment options today than we did, say, 13, 14, 15 years ago when Bitcoin first came on the scene. And yet it still isn't the global payments have been solved, is it?
Yeah, I think that technology is built in layers as much as the financial system is built in layers. And I think the bottom levels of the stack currently in the payments world is from the 70s. So if you're looking at the consumer-facing part of the stack right now, if you look at payments, I'm talking about global payments globally, talking about the financial system, not about the crypto industry. So there's like a last mile, which does use the internet, but a lot of the legacy stack from pre-internet days is still there in place. So to really replace it, you kind of need to go beyond those like local systems. And right now, all of our systems are local. So if you look at all the payments industry, it's fragmented. This is why we believe it's broken. It's fragmented in a way where you don't really have an advantage as a US company in payments outside of the US. Right? So Stripe is pretty much dominating the North American payments industry. If you remove Visa from the equation, Stripe will lose any added value, right? It doesn't have any advantages in deposits in India, even though they're operational in India. But why would somebody use them and pay them 3% for deposits in UPI with the central bank, right? So I'm saying that all the solutions today, and we can go over one by one and like analyze it. UPI, Pix in India, Pix in Brazil, WeChat, faster payments, SEPA, they're all local systems. Very small amount of them really work real time. When I say real time, I mean the settlement is not real time, right? And it's really a hard problem to solve, and it's actually financing a lot of middlemen. And I can go on and on, but I'll pause here. It takes many years to change that. So I think what we're trying to do is to leap from this legacy stack, and this is what crypto tries to do. And I think that the promise is very big, but it's more big in the long term than in the short term. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I mean that's quite a nuanced answer, and I think that does make sense, Mark. And I think we're on the right track. The trajectory is right, and the technology is fast maturing. So we're on the way. But I guess to bring it back to Fuse, then explain a little bit more, Mark, in terms of what Fuse is. What you're trying to do. Obviously, I get that it's about payments, but there's more to it as well. Maybe also just include some of the different use cases, or even like customer buckets or target markets, if you like. Who are you trying to build this for?
Yeah. So I think we heard a lot in the last few in the last year or two, a lot about modular blockchains and then tools. And I think you started way before all that, when it was less fashionable. In 2019, we just launched our network, and we said it wasn't like, let's build it and they will come. But we said something simple. We said EVM is like a common language. You can build a lot of stuff with it. Solidity is a common language. You can build interesting business logics on chain. And I think when you use a blockchain for in the Ethereum world, you're using it in a very specific way. When you use a blockchain in the Fuse world, you're using it very different way. So we're basically saying that not all blockchains will be used the same way. It's a very different unit economics for a transaction. If this is a house representing a house transaction, like somebody just moved, the bill on the house, or if you just moved $1 million across continents, right? You will pay like $1. But if you're buying coffee, you wouldn't announce it to a global settlement network, right? You want all the nice goodies that come out of the box, but it doesn't make any sense that all your competitors can see what's in your pockets, right? For business payments, money is fungible when it's private. It's not really usable when everybody can see what you're using it for. That's only good for crypto use cases. When you wanna integrate crypto in the real world, it needs to be hidden under the surface, and that's basically what Fuse said. Fuse said that blockchains are going to be used differently, that the block space will be consumed or paid for by operators, which are entities, companies, e-money, and Web3 companies that are doing the operational side. They don't want to do the heavy lifting. They don't want to get into very expensive licensing. They don't want to do custody. So blockchains really enable businesses, companies to reach customers without expensive licensing, without expensive IT costs. And they will sponsor those transactions. Those transactions need to have a very clear unit economics. So we're trying to not compete with Ethereum, we're trying to compete with Visa. How do we create better unit economics for a transaction than Visa? And it's actually quite simple. If you're not doing any risk management, which is basically what Stripe and Visa are good at, if you're eliminating that part of risk, you don't have any chargebacks. Because blockchains don't work with chargebacks, you can add chargebacks on top of them. But blockchains work like sending emails, which is definitely not how Visa was designed. So push payments are cheaper than pull payments. And I can go into it, but that's basically a fact. And when you remove all the intermediaries, when you remove all the risk management, and you just leave like a settlement there, an alternative settlement there, you kind of see the world starts to use it. Even Visa, Visa uses today Ethereum, Coin, and Solana. It's just a matter of time until they will discover the L2s, right? Because they are cheaper. And they will offer their value-add services on top of blockchains. And I think what we're trying to do is not try to be everything for everybody. We want to be something between Visa and Ethereum for small businesses. So, I don't want to send businesses to use Ethereum. I don't even want to send my friends to use Ethereum. I don't want them to learn about MetaMask. I want something usable, right? That is for normal people. And I think for non-investors, right now, there's almost no solutions. You kind of need to be an investor to use a blockchain, even today in 2024.
Yeah, very, very well said, Mark. Okay, well, give us a sense of then, some of the businesses or entities that are building on Fuse. I don't know, any case studies or anything like that, people that you've been working with.
Absolutely. So we've been seeing pilots globally. I think one of the nicest aspects of Web3 technology is the fact that you can run it anywhere. So you basically need internet and a phone. And it's pretty interesting to see actually bottom up grassroots who's using it. So we're seeing a lot of pilots. Right now, the hottest place we're seeing activity is Africa. We're seeing a lot of operators, e-money, companies starting to show up, build on Fuse, and actually focus on remittances and dollar yield from Treasury and US Treasury bills to really combat inflation in Africa. So we have a lot of examples like this from Nigeria, Ethiopia. We also see amazing use cases in Southeast Asia. So for instance, in Thailand, and there's an actual pilot starting now in August with one of our biggest operators, Freedom, the app, which is building on the Fuse stack. And it's 100% on chain. Only the customers are regular users. And if you go to, any of the Thailand islands, Smargon, Samui, you'll actually see a sign where you can install the app and get like perks in the island in the form of rewards, in the form of missions. And some of those rewards are actually funded by the Thai Tourism Authority. They have this big plan to give UBI to citizens, to tourists, to basically incentivize people purchasing from different businesses. So actually Web3 can help a lot with this. Thailand is one of the top 10 countries for crypto in the world in terms of adoption. It has a lot of tourists, and this crypto narrative is perfect for Asia, especially since Corona, they're just violently under cash. So it's really easy to convince people to pay with their phones there. And then when people are used to pay with the phone, the next best, the first thing you want to do is try to retain customers. You want to give them points, stars. You want to integrate it into your purchase experience, into your POSs. This is what Fuse was built for, something you can actually plug into a POS system, plug into a mobile app, It's white label, so we're not trying to shove fees down, investors' throats. The company that operates it is a local e-money. They can actually provide the backing, that can provide the convertibility, they can do the operational side, but they don't need to do any heavy lifting to build non-custodial products. And their licensing actually, all e-money companies, they have to give non-custodial access to assets. So it's part of their licensing that they need to offer non-custodial products, non-custodial tools. So those are the partnerships that are exciting for us right now. So we see actually, how regulation drives people to crypto to some extent. And that's where we'll see the growth coming from, not from people, buying NFTs to, see them rise in value, but actually people using crypto without actually normally using crypto. That's where I think that's where growth will come from.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, I agree. Hard to argue with that, Mark. One of the problems, of course, with any blockchain project like this is, user adoption, right? Both from like the user perspective, but also you want to be able to attract developers and businesses to come and build on your chain. What are you doing to kind of, I guess, foster that user adoption and make the case for people to come and build on Fuse?
And that's actually a perfect question. I think the reason people use blockchains, actually, it's a network effect, because they not necessarily want to invest in assets all year round. There's some points in time where there's, network effect. There's a reason to launch on X chain, and there's a reason to buy that X chain coin. And I think the network effect that Ethereum built was replicated in different ecosystems. We saw in the last cycle where you see that spillover between chains. So Ethereum started getting more and more traction, started getting more successful. There was spillover to other chains, and they got expensive. There was another spillover to another chain. I would say this extends to a large extent the Solana story, but it's the same users. It's a zero-sum game, right? We're arguing that in the future, but to also we see this reality now, most of the block space is consumed by bots. They're operated by humans, right? But it's really hard to really find the equilibrium in this market. It's still not a mature industry with clear understanding of valuations of what should be the cost per transaction. I think our focus in building the ecosystem, so you'll have the network effect, and really think on the unit economics, I think it's pretty unique because blockchain transaction costs should be high enough so people won't stem you, but low enough so people won't fork you. There's an equilibrium here, because it's really easy to launch your own chain. So we're not really trying to sell, okay, everybody, we have a better blockchain. No, we don't. We have a better ecosystem behind the blockchain. We have a better middleware stack that gives you access to all those services. Businesses need invoicing. It's just, some prerequisite. Businesses don't need any anonymous products. They just don't need it. They don't ask for it. They don't care about it. You know what? They don't even care about decentralization. We're not trying to sell the world decentralized. My point is that we will see product market fit for business adoption because they're just paying all their margins to Strike. Yeah, and this is why Strike is getting into crypto. So it's just a matter of fact.
Yeah, I like it. Well said again. All right. Well, I guess if we kind of zoom out, what about the kind of wider spread adoption of, what people call Web3, I suppose, the kind of ability to, own your own assets and own your own data, all that kind of stuff. Because it feels like, we're some way away from that happening. where do you see the next kind of wave of adoption, if you like, coming from? You said before you're not sure that it's going to come from people buying NFTs and hoping that value comes up. So if it's not going to come from those kind of speculative bubbles, where does it come from?
So I think that the excitement about Web3 is real, but nobody was excited about Web2 in real time.
Yes.
And Web2 gave us all those amazing business models and products and tools. Web2 gave us pretty much all the professions in high tech we see today. The SaaS model, the B2B2C model, the cloud model, the mobile base, the whole idea of user-generated content, social media was a Web2 invention. Nobody advocated it. It happened organically, I would say, grassroots, bottom up. And I think Web3 to a large extent is the same. People didn't really push for the Web3 narrative until, like, I would say, 2020, 2019 or something like that. It wasn't like hyped. And you know what happens with hype? Usually, everybody are talking about it, nobody's doing it, and then everybody are doing it and nobody's talking about it. So this is, I think, again, like I said before, something that will probably change with the B2C model. It will change a lot of the models that we saw. So imagine, for instance, companies like Stripe couldn't exist before Web2 because they're building a B2B2C product that wasn't really possible to imagine, even PayPal, until Web2. So Web3 is going to take the B2B2C model, which I think right now is very successful. If you look at the Stripe business model, we're in the sharing economy as a whole. The whole Uber, all the food delivery services and Airbnb and all those products, they're basically charging twice as much as Stripe is charging for payments. So paying 6% for every food delivery order you're doing pretty much, or the majority of food delivery orders are doing pretty much, kills the food industry. Nobody makes money. Delivery people don't make money. Well, the payment company are making money. But even if you look at the payments industry, most of the payment industry don't make money. It's only like the biggest. You see 3 companies control the North American payments industry, Stripe, Square, and PayPal, and you don't really see a lot of big companies outside of it. In Europe, you have like maybe 2 big, really large payments companies. It's a really centralized market and very expensive. Nobody's making any money. So I think Web3, if it's not popular to say, this is what I feel Web3 comes to fix. Web3 is not about new models. It's about changing the old models that don't work anymore.
Yeah.
So I can give examples, but I think I'll stop here.
No, I think that is exactly right. Thank you again. I suppose, Mark, as we start to finish off this part of the podcast, it'd be good again if you could just, make the case for why Fuse is, a good solution for businesses that are looking to implement any kind of blockchain payment infrastructure, and just, tell people, for people listening, what is the best place for them to go and learn more? Where should they go? What should they do?
Yeah. So thank you, and I think that's basically the most important question. We feel like the problem with using a blockchain is that everybody are trying to push developers or push users to learn new behaviors or learn how to talk with the blockchain. I don't think most developers, 99% of them, need to ever write their own smart contract. That defies all the purpose of smart contracts. If everybody will build their own smart contracts, what's the sense of a smart contract? The whole idea is that you have one standard, right, that you can use, and automatically supported by all the exchanges, all the wallets. So we're trying to say, don't build your own contracts. And this is what's securing billions of dollars and was audited and proven to work. We're taking the money Legos that work on Ethereum, in the Ethereum ecosystem. We're bringing them to Fuse, and we're offering them in a business bundle. very much to the Stripe business model, like they charge on 3%, and you're getting everything out of the box. You're getting invoicing and payroll and marketplaces and everything you out of the box. That by the way, also the same business model for PayPal and for Square, and they're very successful with that business model. They're so successful they actually have a lot of competition there from other companies with that exact same business model. But what we're trying to do is to improve this model. So we're saying we're not charging 3%, we're charging $100 a month, and for that $100 you'll get 10,000 transactions a month, more than enough to start your first crypto project. You get 1 million RPC calls, which usually you just go to like a third-party service, like a SaaS product, and pay them. You'll get a subgraph queries, like 1 million subgraph queries. You get webhooks for real-time payment notification, something you get out of the box on Stripe. But blockchains don't have anything out of the box. And this is why you need to assemble 30 different tools and pay 30 different vendors and try to figure out how to use MetaMask and how to teach your customers to use MetaMask. We're saying, no, we'll offer a middleware that is standard, audited, working, proven to work, but we won't charge 3% and just get everything out of the box for that $100 a month. And that would be the equivalent of the free tier or the freemium model that comes up.
Got it. Thank you, Mark. And of course, that website, folks, it is in the show notes, but the website is simply fuse.io. And well, Mark, I said it's almost time to finish off the podcast, but before we do that, we have to finish off, in fact, by running you through the very famous Crypto Conversation Hot Take Round. Are you up for it?
Sure.
Just going to run some questions at you, Mark. What I want you to do is give me your honest answer, hot take style, if you like. Just kind of quick, snappy answers is how we do it. Question one for you, Mark, is a bit of a strange one, but let's see what you have to say. The question is, where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
I would say that Ethereum tries to do something the opposite than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the promise nothing will change in 100 years. That humans have no way to change anything, and Ethereum is exactly the other way around. It's about let's experiment and let's try different stuff. And I don't think they're trying to achieve the same things. I would say they're not mutually exclusive.
Yep, very well said. All right, well, what would you say then is your firmest conviction crypto opinion, Mark?
That you mustn't get investment opinions from developers, and you mustn't get development opinions from investors.
I like it. That's great. All right. Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. With that in mind, anything you like here, Web3, Fuse, online payments, what does it all look like in 10 years' time, Mark?
I think that probably, and I can go out on the limb and say it will happen before 10 years, because things do happen much faster nowadays. Like things are accelerating, I would say. And probably crypto will meet TradFi or DeFi will meet TradFi in the middle. Where you won't have as much as anonymous services, and non-custodial products will merge with custodial products, where you won't see where one ends and the second starts, and the users wouldn't care.
Yeah, brilliant. Like it again. All right. Sci-fi author William Gibson, he said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. With that in mind, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Yeah, I think the fact that you could, it's really interesting. Crypto attracts a lot of people that have the patience and the brains to kind of learn And not everything is shiny, not everything works, but I'm really bullish on that part. So that at the very least we managed to attract a lot of like brain power to that, to this task, to this effort. This is why I'm here, because it's fun, you know, and I attain the technology. I'm a bad investor. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't really like the technology. And I think a lot of people really see it as a hobby. I think there's not a lot of industries like this.
Yeah, yeah. Couldn't have said it better. Yeah, lots of smart people playing with shiny toys. That's a great way to sum up crypto,
Exactly.
really. It brings us nicely, in fact, to the final question, Mark, which is, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
Just like first thing came up to my mind is the foundations. It answers all of the questions. It's fresh in my mind because I recently saw it, but also it's like a good book, a good writer, very
Yeah.
good series.
Yeah, classic series of books, obviously. And yeah, Foundation recently, it was Apple TV that did the TV version. Is that what you watched?
Yeah, and it really adapted it really nicely. I wasn't bored. It was pretty original the way they did it. It wasn't in the books as well, so I think it's a really full adaptation.
Yeah, I must admit, I haven't watched it. I think I might have watched some of the first episode, and then for some reason, yeah, got distracted and didn't go back to it. I must do that.
Yeah, it's really nice when they take like episodes that happen like thousands of years and somehow make it fun to watch, like interesting to watch.
Yes. All right. Well, look, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us on the show today, Mark. Just to close it out, again, please tell people what they should do, where they should go to learn all about Fuse. And of course, look, if you're on Twitter or wherever else you like to hang out online, please share your own handle.
Perfect. So we're just in very exciting months. We're doing a hackathon. We're migrating to zkEVM this month. So check us out at Fuse.io. And I think there's this exciting, I would say, year or years for battery payments, because it's really starting to be a category. It wasn't when we started in 2019.
Yes, indeed. All right. Thank you so much, Mark. All the best, and bye for now.
Thanks, Sandy. Thanks, everybody.